watching The Sports Spin, presented by Uinta Basin Healthcare. Health and healing, every person, every time.
Welcome to The Sports Spin, your weekly dose of sports action, presented by Uinta Basin Healthcare. The immaculately dressed Mark Mason, along with John Nurden. Purple, John? Well, we watch the games, we call the games. Now we spin the games.
Today we've got high school soccer in the Week Rewind, our first champion in the Monster Plays, and Uinta softball for our Call of the Week, Mark.
Well, it's time for the Week Rewind.
So, Mark, we talked a little bit about Duchesne basketball.
This was last week?
Yeah, last week.
You failed on your Call of the Week.
I know, we're going to get to that a little later,
Yeah.
but, you know, Duchesne, they lost in the first round to Merritt Academy. Rough one for them. You know, I don't know what happened there. Their region's tougher than that. Both Tabiona and Duchesne should have won those first games.
Yeah, and we had Tabiona out early before the airing of the last show, so we both jumped on the bandwagon with the Eagles, and they got their wings clipped. Merritt Academy came in. Hey, you got to play these games.
Yeah,
that's what the
play
playoffs is about. And even though you might be the favorite, or you might think, oh, now the top dog's out, they were out, but mentally Duchesne wasn't there. It was clearly evident in the score.
Yeah, you're right. You know, and basketball season's over this year. We're going to have a little interview with Coach Hardy, kind of wrap up the Uinta season, and basketball's done. So now it's soccer season. It's where I want to be. I love soccer.
It's the beautiful game, John. And, you know, you guys had Highland High School come visit on the road. I was there, saw both the varsity and the JV game. And, John, you guys were ready. I mean, you were ready to start the season. You had a home game, and that's critical going into all the road games you have to play here coming up, you know, especially the trip to St. George coming up.
Yeah, and a home game. We haven't had a home game in a while for our first game of the year, so it was a little different for us. Kids were a lot more antsy. They were excited. The game just started well for us, and we played great. A lot of good possession. We dominated possession until we were up 3-0, and then, you know, we gave up a goal late in the game. And but for the most part, our kids handled the game, played great. Some really good plays.
And it's ever critical to get that first goal in soccer. And the Utes had multiple chances in the first 15 minutes. They played, I would say, over 50% of the game in the upper third in the opponent's box almost. And some close misses, and finally they got a score to go in. And it was a beautiful score. It was a turnover, I believe, against the defender, and came up one-on-one against the keeper.
Yeah, so Trevor McCackney, he got the ball in the back, brought that thing up, made a great pass forward. We went down deep into the goal line, the byline, and then kicked that back, quick, simple touch, and there was Trevin again, a fullback all the way up there and thunder thumping it with his left foot in the back of the net.
Boomer, he got it done. You know, we also want to talk about Union soccer. I mean, Union's playing as well.
They are, and I'm excited for their season this year. You know, we don't play Union this year. We don't have that opportunity. They're 3A and we're 4A. We didn't have a lot of preseason games. Coach Goodrich and I decided not to play each other this year. Take a year off. I want them to win. I want them to do really well. I want them to take region this year. A lot of those kids have worked hard at soccer. They had their first game 1-1. Came out great. They tied a good team. Good start for them.
So they get a draw in their first game. And last year was kind of a building season, and they knew that kind of going into it. But here they came in, and unfortunately the rivalry game not being able to be played. But you guys are limited on games. Probably the right call for both teams, so you can get the right opponents, the right competition for your seasons. And you're seeing different levels, 4A, 3A.
We really are. And, you know, our team is a little more advanced. I don't mean to beat on them a little, but Uinta and Union wouldn't be as much of a game as maybe if they had a team in the 3A division this year. So, good for them. Here we go. Soccer season started.
Yeah, and we got also for Uinta, well, both schools, all the schools starting with baseball. Uinta had a home game scheduled, and due to the conditions of the field, they had to move that game
to Emory. And they whooped them 13-0, Mark.
Yeah.
They took care of business, and, you know, good for baseball. That's a good start, 13-0. Now they go on the road. They hit Farmington, New Mexico, and We'll have all the baseball scores coming next week when we rewind.
They've been going to Farmington since, I don't know when, it seems like forever. What a tradition for the baseball program. 13-0. Heck, you can't complain about a result like that. Well, that's the week rewind. Let's take a look at this week's Monster Plays. Welcome to the Monster Play segment. Remember, this is where we put 3 of our top plays of the week up against each other, and you vote for them at The Sports Spin on Twitter, and you get to pick which ones we have. Last week, in a landslide, Allred, a half man, half amazing from Union High School. He just about crushed the competition in the game, and he certainly crushed the competition here on the first Monster Play of the week.
Now, and here you see it again. 4 dunks, 1 game. He's going to be on top until someone knocks him off. You know, today we've got a couple other plays that we're going to bring in to see if they can challenge for that top dominance.
Yeah, King of the Mountain here right now.
Yeah.
Allred's the King of the Mountain. Who's going to be next? Well, we've got queued up from Uinta High School, John Parker, on an alley-oop circus shot that you will absolutely love. He goes up. He catches the ball in the air one-handed off the glass and gets it back tip in, and he gets fouled in the process. We call that one the Parker Circus. Play number 2 here on the Monster Plays of the Week.
So those of you watching the show, get out and vote. Get on Twitter. Give us a shout. Let us know which of these plays you like. We've got one more queued up for you. This one I like a fair bit. I got to call this game, Mark, with you. This one we're going to call a man among boys because he's a man among boys. Look at him.
And we're going to go all the way back to the football season, and we couldn't help ourselves because Latui had the game of a lifetime, and he did it in the air passing. He did it running. Oh, heck, I think he built a house at halftime. That's how amazing he was. Man among boys, Bill Latui, and when he turns the Jets and gets the corner, there's nobody catching him.
No, and it was a pleasure to watch that game. That was one of my favorite high school football games I've ever watched, Mark. Just a pleasure. Get out, show us the vote. Let us know what you guys think of these plays. You can look at them over and over again if you want, because our show does replay on YouTube. The vote's going to be open from tonight until Monday. So get out there and vote it. Share it around. Get everybody watching the show.
So will Union High School win? Will Latui dethrone Allred, or will Uinta High School finally get in here on the Monster Plays? Stay tuned. We're going to find out. We'll be right back after this break.
Uinta Basin Medical Center now has a new 64-slice CT scanner, giving our patients superior imaging in a comfortable environment. Enjoy a positive patient experience with shorter scan times, improved patient access and positioning, and a video of relaxing scenes or cartoons for children. High detail, low dose features offer the ability to see the smallest diagnostic detail with up to a 60% dose reduction. When you need a CT scan, choose Uinta Basin Medical Center. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back on the Sports Spin, presented by Uinta Basin Healthcare. Now let's go to the spin cycle. Today we've got a great guest with us, Coach Hardy. Good to have you in studio. Good to have you here. Talk a little basketball, how the season wrapped up. We see it was a good first season for you. Get a good start. We got several questions we want to go with.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you know, Coach, we will first of all welcome you. Second showing ever of the Sports Spin. Got Coach Kenny Hardy here with us. And Coach, of course, as everyone probably at home knows, my son plays on your team. And to me, it was a successful season. Maybe wins and losses, not so much. But looking at the playoffs, very last game, you had on the road, Salem Hills came to your house. And you had a chance at the playoffs. I think when you put the A and B together, That's a successful season considering how young your team was.
Yeah, I like to consider that it was a successful season. I think that we would have liked to have had a few more wins here and there. You know, we had some close games, but considering everything, I think, you know, it's hard to know what to expect with a young team because we didn't have a lot of returning starters. We had seniors, but I think overall we competed, and that's all I asked our boys to do is compete and play hard, and we were in most of the games and had chances to win. So overall, you know, we were happy.
Sure. So with the youth of your team, a lot of teams lose their seniors. You had a few seniors. You know, certainly Big Red's going to be a little tough to replace, but you have a lot of youth coming up. How does that work for you this year?
Well,
next year.
Yeah, no, we're really excited. You know, that's one thing that we'll have come back. We'll lose basically one starter in Trevor. You know, we had a few games where we started Tyrell and Caden Anderson, the other senior, but overall, we have 3 or 4 guys coming back that will have a lot of varsity experience. And to be honest, I think that's what we were lacking a little bit this year.
Yeah, you had just moments where the kids had it together and then they didn't have it together. And they need to get through this certain amount of the game where the other team's just beating into them, or they need that one shot.
Yes.
One shot. And I think you'll have that next year with that.
We hope so. We expect that, and we think that we'll have a lot of good experience coming back.
You know, it also talks about you. Last year you were kind of one seat down, and this year you move up into that starting role. What were the challenges you faced as a first-year head coach?
Oh, you know, to be honest, we had a challenging year. There was a lot of adversity and things that maybe people don't outside know that we were dealing with, whether it was kids being sick for weeks at a time or trouble off the court, but it was a tough year. It really was. I mean, I enjoyed it and wouldn't change it, but we had a lot of trials and adversity, and it was a growing experience for me and our coaching staff, and hopefully we'll get better moving forward.
So growing experience. You guys went to Florida. What a great opportunity. How did that help this season in the growth of the kids?
We did. We, you know, one thing I like to do as a coach or am trying to instill is kind of get out of state for a little bit, maybe for a tournament here and there. And we did. We went to Florida, and we played some really good teams down there. You know, it's a different level of competition when you get down and start playing teams from New York and all over the country. And we competed and we played well. We didn't come out with as many wins as we'd want to, but it was a good experience to prepare us for region. And at that same time, we were dealing with some injuries. Corbin Gardner didn't play with us, which was a big loss for us. And so
he had broke his arm before that game?
He did. He had hurt his hand.
Oh, okay. It was a hand.
He had hurt his hand, and so he didn't even play down there. And so, you know, that's tough. We were trying to fix that, or, you know, put new people in that position and get the chemistry adjusted. And so, but overall, guys stepped up and played really well.
You know, and it's that chemistry and that team building that makes Florida such an important trip, or any out of state. You know, get out of town, go build a team. You know, remember the Titans. You know, they went out and they built a team. Did you have a little bit of that?
Absolutely. And in fact, to be honest with you, that's my main purpose of doing something like that. I mean, because we can go get 4 games anywhere, right? So that's the point, to go and get away from, you know, the Vernal a little bit and get guys to be able to bond and spend time together and get closer together. And so I felt like we did, and it was really good for our team.
And good for you to get that together. That takes a lot as a head coach. That's one of those things behind the scenes that people just don't really see. The head coach taking all that time and effort to put that together, the money, the political side, the bookkeeping, everything related to that. It's a lot of work, and thanks for doing that for the kids. And it does help other programs. The better that football does, the better that basketball does, helps other programs with the smaller sports.
Absolutely. Coach, one of my favorite things was the honorary starters. Going into that last game, we've talked about it already, and this touched me in more ways than one. I had my son was a sophomore. He had an opportunity to start that game, but more importantly, I have a sister-in-law that's mentally challenged. And she was able to wear jersey number 1. And right before my son ran through the tunnel, he reached out and grabbed his aunt's hand, and they ran through this tunnel together. I was calling the game here on VTV Channel 6 and had to stop speaking. I was rather large lump in my throat. How did that come about? Why did it come about, and what I know what it did for my son. What did it do for the team and for you?
You know, that came about was I just, as a coaching staff, we wanted to come up with something to help the boys realize that there's more to themselves. We want to teach boys how to be selfless and look beyond themselves, and we thought that would be a great opportunity to bring people in that were examples of dedication and determination of dealing with trials in their lives of, various sorts, as you saw with the Subway Star thing. But, that was such a blessing for our team, and to be able to see and learn and feel the spirit of those people that came in as our Subway Stars. I really feel that it touched the boys, and it gave them an example of someone that was tough and determined to fight through adversity in their lives.
Yeah, and not touching just for the boys and your team, for the community. And I don't know if you noticed, but the other teams would stop and clap and listen and cheer these fabulous people on that were able to be the honorary starters. I mean, for a community and for a school, I couldn't imagine a better thing for you to do. And the wins and losses could have been 0 wins and 1,000 losses, and that still would have been a victory in my book.
It was. If you noticed me, I got choked up a few times through some of those, moments where we were honoring some of those Subway Stars, and it was a special moment, and it was a great opportunity to recognize someone besides the starters on the basketball team that
Sure.
As examples in the community. So it was something that we're going to continue, and we loved being a part of that.
So, Coach, that's some good stuff, and on our show we like to congratulate you and have you do a good job. A little tougher question though.
Let's do it.
You had a little me ball sometimes, and you have to fight through that. And it seemed like when your team would play team ball and they shared the ball together, that's when there was success. And when it was I got to get mine, and it wasn't just one kid, it was throughout the whole team. How do you fix that for next year?
That's the $1 million question, because
that's why you're the head coach. And I just talk about you.
You're spot on. You're spot on with that, and that was a trial that I, as a coach, and I felt we as a team faced, was not playing unselfish. At times we would, and at times we could, but you're exactly right. At times we'd have, maybe guys that were taking shots that were more about me and trying to get my points. It's just trying to get kids to understand that the team is more important than any individual.
So speak to their talent, though. Why could they play me ball?
Well, that's, on the flip side, we did have kids that, which is a great thing to be able to step up and knock down shots and go off and hit, 4 threes in a row or something, and go off really quick and get hot. We have, 3 or 4 kids that have the ability to do that. And so, it's not that I'm sitting there saying that our boys were selfish. I think it's just learning how to play with one another and recognizing, okay, maybe, John Parker's better at coming off the screen and Corbin's better at spotting up in the corner. Or it's just recognizing talents and abilities and learning how to play
and when
with
to
each other.
use those, and when to use them together, and when to use them selfishly.
Yes.
Because you've got to have those guys knocking down those threes like that.
Absolutely.
That was your plan. So,
Yes.
so that is a tough challenge.
It'll
that's
be a
what you
challenge.
get all summer long. You get to work on that.
Absolutely, and we're going to work on that.
Thanks so much for joining us here, Coach Kenny Hardy, Uinta High School. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back for the Calls of the Week. Welcome back to the Sports Spin. We're going to dive right into the Calls of the Week, where I'm always right, and if you're a betting man, follow me. Well, John, calls of the week. We had last week Duchesne High School in the basketball, and we both jumped on these guys to win, and I picked them to go to state.
You did. So, you know, as we're taking tallies here, Mark, Duchesne, they lost that first game. I picked them to win that game, but I didn't pick them to go to state. So technically I win, right?
I would say it's a push. We're going to go with a push. Now we'll let you have one.
We can stay pushed. I don't want to overdo it. We'll stay pushed right now, Mark.
Okay, so both of us lost on the Duchesne call, and then we went straight to the NBA, push right there, and we said Steph Curry, and he follows up us saying he's going to shoot 7,000 threes in a season, and he lost to the Lakers in one of the biggest upsets that ever happened in the NBA record-wise, ever.
No, that was a bad game, and we picked him. I don't know if we went 7,000, but one of us picked him over 400, one under. We'll keep track of this all season long. Let you guys know how that one ends up before the Sports Spin signs off.
So we'll call that one a push as well. And we'll go to the last call we called last week. Uinta High School. I called Uinta to win 6-3. You had them at 3-0. Uinta won, or you had them at
I had them at 2-0, Mark. So they won 3-1. So the spread was 2 points. I got to get the win. You had a 3-point spread. I had a 2-point spread.
Hey, listen, Pete Rose, you don't get to call that because you had your players honk 3 breakaway goals against Highland. It would have been 6-1. I would have won that. I forgot you can't bet against the coach that has money on his own team.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, so that's a win for Mark.
No, so far,
calls of the week, Mark Mason won, Nerdin nothing. Let's go into calls of the week for week 2 here, and let's start right now with Union preseason soccer. They're going to play 5 games before our next show.
Yeah, so they're 1 game in. We've got that 1 game. We know it's a tie. So I'm going to go 3-1-1.
So you've got them losing 1 game. They've got the push already. And winning 3 games, that's pretty ambitious of you. I'm going to go 2-2-1. I think they're going to lose 2 games. They're going to win 2 games, and they have the 1 tie right now. We're going to see who's right on that one.
We will see. Definitely we'll see. Okay, so we have Uinta softball, Mark. Call of the week. They've got 7 games before our next show, and I want to hear what you have to say about that.
Well, here's what I have to say about Uinta softball. Last year, they went into the playoffs as undeniably the favorites. They were going to win it, and then the pitching went cold, the bats went cold, and they were out in the first round of the playoffs. They're going to have some anger from that, and I say they take it out on their first 7 opponents. Not only do they win, but they're winning double digits almost every game.
That's a great call, and you might win that, but I got to get that game in. A softball game, you're right. They're angry. They got a lot of players back. They're going to be good this year. I'm going to go 6-1, Mark. See if I can sneak it out.
All right, so there we have the calls of the week. Right now, and again, if you're keeping score at home, Mark Mason won, Nerdin nothing. We'll be right back after a short break with the Fast Dash. We're going to get rid of John Nerdin and bring in a couple of drill team specialists, state champion, national champion girls. We'll be right back.
Have a great first day of school, sweetie. Buckle up.
Good night, honey. Buckle up.
Buckle up.
No, okay, I'm gonna tell him.
If you love someone,
Hey, Dad.
tell them to buckle up.
Buckle up.
Uinta Basin Medical Center now has a new 64-slice CT scanner, giving our patients superior imaging in a comfortable environment. Enjoy a positive patient experience with shorter scan times, improved patient access and positioning, and a video of relaxing scenes or cartoons for children. High detail, low dose features offer the ability to see the smallest diagnostic detail with up to a 60% dose reduction. When you need a CT scan, choose Uinta Basin Medical Center. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome back to the Sports Spin. I'm Gabby Hawks, and this is JC Henline, and we're representing Uinta's drill team. Let's roll with the Fast Dash.
And welcome to the Fast Dash. JC, I've got to admit, John Nerdin usually occupies that spot, but I think the crowd at home will agree with me. You're a much better replacement for him. You ladies ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to put you on a 1-minute clock, and on that 1-minute clock, we're going to ask you questions, Go as quick as you can. If you want to add anything to it, at the end, we'll let the viewers decide who they think is the smarter, the better. I'm not sure what to call it. Well, we'll just find out when we're done here. So we're going to roll the clock up, and when you're ready, here we go. Starting right off the top, salads or hamburgers?
Salads.
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers,
Gotta have
there
my
we
meat.
go. Right, what kind of hamburger? In and out?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, double coming at you. Flip-flops or high heels, ladies?
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. You going to wear them to prom?
Probably not.
Oh, I dare you. Okay, state or national champions?
State, no doubt.
State champion. What, 2 and 3 times state champions? They got the hardware to prove it. Hillcrest or Bountiful?
Hillcrest.
Oh,
I like them better.
I put you on the spot
like
with that
Bountiful
one.
better.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Hillcrest is my alma mater. So how about that? Military or character?
Military.
Military.
Military?
Character. Wow, you were surprised too, huh? I like the little the festival you guys had on, whatever that was called. Best dance ever.
Gypsy my sophomore year.
Gypsy. Okay.
I think military this year.
Military this year, you guys
Unstoppable,
rocked
yeah.
it, right? Let's go with a back or a front flip.
Back flip.
Easier or harder?
Easier.
It's easier. Oh, okay. Rock or country?
Country.
I didn't even know people like country music anymore.
Live and learn all.
Oh, okay. You
Country
didn't
as
answer.
well, but neither of them are my favorites.
Okay, 5 minutes late or 5 minutes early?
5 minutes early.
Earlier.
Early, oh yeah, you're Robin McClellan students, that's right.
Exactly.
Best dance movie ever?
Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing. Okay, we thought you might say Footloose. We're going to go with Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing.
You and a drill team, national champions. Show them the hardware, girls. That's incredible. Thanks for joining us here on the Sports Spin, presented by Uinta Basin Healthcare. Health and healing, every person, every time. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and we'll see you next week.